This is the Royals POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in to the Royals POSTCAST, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chance Liebau, and I'm here to bring you reaction to every single Royals game the rest of the way. You can shoot me a follow on Twitter or X at Chance Liebau. That's at CHANCELIEBAU. If you cannot make a show live, don't worry. This episode will be uploaded for you to listen to on demand wherever you get your podcasts. I want to say thank you so much for making the Locked On Royals podcast or the Royals POSTCAST your first listen of the day. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on our notifications so that you get an alert whenever we go live. Thanks so much for joining the show, and feel free to join the live chat and let me know your thoughts on the game, or should I say the games, as we are doing this might be the most unique Royals POSTCAST we do because, number one, we're reacting to a doubleheader. We've done that once before. That was actually our first episode, if I remember correctly. And number two, we got a trade to react to. So we are getting a twofer here today, or maybe even a threefer here in a doubleheader action for the Royals as they split the day's doubleheader with the Cleveland Guardians. Really, didn't love today's games, really. Not a great outing for Kris Bubic today in Game 2. The offense needed a miracle from Jonathan India in Game 1 to win it. So let's just get straight into it. Here's what you'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Depends on if you're an optimist or a pessimist. If you're an optimist, you'll take Game 1 and say, you know, the Royals were really good in Game 1. They got a great outing out of Michael Wacha. They got a Jonathan India 3-run homer off the reigning runner-up for the American League Cy Young, and they won in extra innings in a game that could potentially propel them into being contenders and buyers at the trade deadline. Or you could be a pessimist. You could say, well, the Royals won Game 1. It was a bit lucky. They needed extra innings to do it. Jonathan India, a guy that doesn't hit home runs very often, hit a walk-off home run. And then in Game 2, they were exposed. Kris Bubic dug them in a hole, and then they just weren't able to climb out of it. That's kind of the beauty of doubleheaders. You can, especially split doubleheaders, you can be a pessimist or an optimist. I'm going to choose to be an optimist. The Royals, if not for Kris Bubic being downright horrendous in the first inning of Game 2 of this doubleheader, had a really good 18-inning showing. And then they added a piece at the in the middle of Game 2, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But for all that was poor about the Royals today, the starting pitching from Kris Bubic, the approaches at the plate through the first time through the order, once again, early offense from either side or from either of the games, really. I think we come away feeling like that was a net positive for the Royals. I know that in terms of run differential, they split. It was a dead even on the day. But I thought the Royals played some of their best baseball really all week long. I felt pretty solid with how Michael Wacha pitched. I mean, he wasn't dazzling. He made it 2.5 times through the order, and Matt Quatraro pulled him. And I know there are going to be some people that say, well, why did you pull Michael Wacha at 80 pitches? And if you've listened to this podcast, if you watch this postcast, you'll know exactly why, or exactly my opinion on it. I'm of the opinion that Michael Wacha is a guy. He's a 2-pitch pitcher, 2.5 if he's really on. You don't need to let him go 3 times through the order. So that's my opinion on Michael Wacha getting pulled at 80. And then the bullpen was unspectacular the rest of the way. You had John Schreiber struggling. Steven Cruz gave up the run in the 10th. And then from that point on, the Royals were able to pull away and win with Jonathan India. But the offense, wasn't great in Game 1. It took an 0-for-11 stretch for them to even pull the rabbit out of their hat, which was a Jonathan India 3-run homer in the bottom of the inning, or the bottom of the 10th, to come away with the win. Michael Garcia had a good game, but other than that, I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about this season when the top of the line or the bottom of the lineup doesn't perform, it gets to be a bit stagnant in terms of the lineup. And in game one, out of the top four in the lineup, top five in the lineup, you get 6 hits, you get 5 RBI. And out of the bottom of the order, Cags gets benched for the second game in a row, or not second game in a row, but a lot of people alluded to the potential of Jack Caglione getting benched. He gets benched in game one. John Rave, Ofer, Kyle Isbell, Ofer, and then a cast of crews pinch hitting for Kyle Isbell goes Ofer as well. So the bottom of the Royals lineup in game one was fairly unspectacular, going Ofer. They were able to pull the rabbit out of the hat. Jonathan India gets his revenge on Emmanuel Clase, which, call it luck, but Jonathan India is a good baseball player. He's a good hitter. Sorry, I just got back from dinner. He's a good baseball player. He's a good hitter. So I felt pretty fine with how the offense performed. I know it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to get a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 10th off Emmanuel Clase, but by God, they did it. And then game two, Kris Bubic just digs the grave. I mean, why don't we just let's send it to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about game two of the doubleheader, and we'll also talk about the trade that happened as the Royals picked up a bat at the deadline. We'll talk about that when we come back here on the Royals Postcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue. Gameday Hue makes it clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. Personally, I love rocking it on the course when I'm golfing. It's a subtle, stylish, and I like it so I can rep my team. It's the kind of hat that reps your team without screaming it. Subtle, but still says everything. And I know if you guys watch this, you know that I have a big collection of hats. It's not just hats. Check out their split shade gloves made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals so now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com. Code MLB15. Today's episode is also brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's talk game two. Royals fall to the Guardians 6-4. Kris Bubic walks the bases loaded and then walks a run in to start the game. That's the game right there. The Royals were in a hole before they even swung the stick. Before Jonathan India even steps into the on-deck circle, the Royals are in a 3-0 hole. And I've talked about Kris Bubic a little bit on this show. I think that he's a guy that you extend this offseason. I think he's a guy that you go into next season with as a legitimate starter in this rotation. But also, he has his bad outings. When I've talked about it, I think I talked about it the most in the Dodgers game, in the Dodgers postcast, when we were talking about the final game of the series there. When he does not have command with one of his 3 pitches, and there are people who will be like, well, he has 5 pitches because he throws a fastball, a sinker, a sweeper, and a slider. Well, fastball and sinker, they don't move that differently, and his slider and sweeper are the exact same pitch. So for Kris Bubic, he throws 3 pitches: fastball, slider, changeup, or at least 3 movements: hard, off speed, breaking ball. And when one of those isn't working, it is a really difficult outing for him because he just cannot seem to get out of his own way with the command. When that fastball is not up in the zone, when it's not playing up, then folks, it's going to be a long day for Kris Bubic. And today, it was just a bad outing for him. He doesn't get out of the gates well. I can't remember if he was supposed to start game one or if he was supposed to start yesterday or today. I believe he was just supposed to start today, but maybe if he was supposed to start yesterday, the time off could have been in effect there. But I just feel like he just hasn't been himself since the end of May. So I don't know. I just feel like the way Kris Bubic is, he's a middle of the pack starter, and today he digs the Royals in a hole. But credit the offense against. I mean, I don't think that Tanner Bybee is a spectacular pitcher. He gave up 4 through 5 today, but they saw him pretty well. If they didn't, I think that if you're Matt Quatraro and you say that you tagged Tanner Bybee for 7 hits and 4 earned through 5 innings, you're taking that to the bank. But instead, Tanner Bybee also strikes out 8, doesn't walk anybody. Kris Bubic doesn't make it through the 3rd, his shortest outing of the season. Then we're talking about a team that isn't even able to scratch it against, we know what Cleveland's strength is, even though the Royals were able to win it in the 9th or in the 10th today, earlier in the day. We know that their strength is their bullpen. And seeing the Royals just fail to get anything against Tanner Bybee, or at least not get enough because of the hole they were dug in. I mean, Chris Enright goes 2 perfect innings. Hunter Gaddis picks up his 20th hole of the season. And then Clase throws a perfect 9th. The recipe to beating Cleveland is not praying that you're able to tag their bullpen. The recipe to beating Cleveland is getting enough runs against the starter and then hoping that your bullpen can hold it together. So I don't know. A split doubleheader, you have a chance to win it tomorrow. I believe it's Noah Cameron on the bump tomorrow. Let me check that real quick. I believe it's Noah Cameron, but I with the doubleheader today, my head is all screwed up. I believe it's Noah Cameron against the Guardians tomorrow. Noah Cameron, Joey Cantillo. And Cantillo's a lefty. The Royals haven't hit lefties all year, so they're going to need a good outing out of Cameron tomorrow. And I don't know how soon a guy like Randal Grichuk can be in the lineup, but there was news that broke in the middle of the day or in the middle of the second game that the Royals went out and got Randal Grichuk. And I'm going to look up his SPO track real quick because I do not know what his contract is. I believe he's a rental. Like I said, I've been at dinner, so I don't exactly know. I haven't been too dialed in, but he has a mutual option for next year that is $5 million. And it looks like, according to SPO-Track, the Diamondbacks are retaining most of his salary. So the Royals, they have a mutual option with a $3 million buyout for next season for Randal Grichuk. And, looking at his numbers, from what I remember about Randal Grichuk is that he's a lefty crusher. And with the amount of lefties the Royals have in their outfield, having a guy like Grichuk who can hit lefties well is a good idea. Grichuk not having a great season. He's got negative WAR, but last year he hit 291. Let me look at his splits because his splits against lefties are really, really good, if I remember correctly. Versus lefties in his career, 270 hitter, 827 OPS, compared to when he's a righty, or to when he's facing a righty, his OPS is 90 points higher, and his slugging percentage is over 50 points higher. So they're bringing in Randal Grichuk to be a bit of a platoon bat, especially with now with people in the chat saying that Cags is injured. I was listening to the radio broadcast. I was getting groceries today, so I was listening to the radio broadcast. It didn't sound like he was injured, but it sounds like Grichuk is going to probably be a platoon bat because this year he's taken 121 hacks against left-handed pitching compared to 60 against righties. I would imagine that he splits time with either Rave or Frazier or Melendez or whoever in the outfield. But I don't know if it's much of a needle mover. They free up a spot by trading Andrew Hoffman, who I was not a huge fan of. So seeing a trade like that, a guy that has a quote-unquote mutual option, I would imagine it gets picked up next year because the Royals are in a desperate need for right-handed outfielders. Quick, name the Royals right-handed outfielders in the system. Oh, Tyler Tolbert and Dyron Blanco. That's why the Royals picked up Randal Grichuk here today, because they don't have very many right-handed outfielders. It's just one of the things that they lack. And they, as much as you want to talk bad about Matt Quatraro and his lefty-righty splits, he still loves to go for he needs to have a righty to bring off the bench if a lefty comes in to face a Caglione or a John Ray. And I see Cam in the chat saying we need to trade for a Duran. I'm not sure if you saw yesterday, Cam, but the trade package that the Padres sent to the to the Red Sox, the Red Sox immediately shut down. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble. I know it's a Saturday night and everybody's in a good mood, but Jarren Duran is not going to be a Royal if that is the asking price plus more, because I imagine it's a little bit more with the fact that the Royals and the Red Sox are competing for the exact same playoff spot. So the Jarren Duran hype, the Jarren Duran, smoke, I think it's more likely the Royals. I don't even know if I'd say it's more likely the Royals go out and get Taylor Ward, because now they have Randal Grichuk, who's an outfielder who hits right-handed. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd say I'm confused by the move, but I think it's it's a major leaguer for major leaguer trade, whatever. I think he helps the team in the short term, but I don't know what his role is in 2026 and beyond. I'd imagine they pick up the option. He's not a terrible defender, but I would imagine that Randal Grichuk is probably in the lineup at some point next week when the Royals homestand continues as they take on the Atlanta Braves. But let me know your thoughts in the comments on the Randal Grichuk trade. A lot of stuff to talk about today. Appreciate you guys for being here with us. Tomorrow, it'll be a afternoon edition as the Royals have a 1:10 first pitch against the Cleveland Guardians. We'll talk to you then. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will talk to you tomorrow for the Royals Postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.